proverbially tiny web.
All feathered things, yet ever known to men from the huge rock to little wren.
What is the origin of the rock legend? I think it is pure fantasy. Whence the recurrent connection with Madagascar?
Fossils from Madagascar tell us that a gigantic bird, the elephant bird Epionis maximus, lived there perhaps until as late as the 17th century, although more probably around 1000 AD. The elephant bird finally succumbed, perhaps partly to people stealing its eggs, which were up to 1 metre in circumference and would have provided as much food as 200 chicken eggs. The elephant bird was 3 metres tall and weighed nearly half a ton, as much as 5 ostriches. Unlike the legendary rock that used its mighty wingspan to carry Sinbad aloft as well as elephants. The real elephant bird could not fly, and its wings were small, like an ostrich. But though a cousin, it would be wrong to imagine it as a scaled-up ostrich. It was a more robust, heavy-set bird, a kind of feathered tank with a big head and neck, unlike the ostrich's slender periscope. Given how legends readily grow and inflate, Epionis is a plausible suggestion of the rock.
The elephant bird was probably vegetarian, unlike earlier groups of giant carnivorous birds such as the Forest raccoon family of the New World. They could grow to the same height as Epionis with a fearsomely hooked beak, which, as if in justification of their nickname of feathered tyrannosaurs, looks capable of swallowing a medium-sized lawyer whole. These monstrous cranes seem at first like better casting for the role of the terrifying rock than Epionis, but they went extinct too long ago to have started the legend, and in any case, Sinbad or his real-life Arab counterpart never visited the Americas.
The elephant bird of Madagascar is the heaviest bird known to have lived, but it was not the longest. Some species of moa could reach a height of 3.5 metres, but only if the neck was raised, as in one early museum mountain. In life, it seems, they normally carried the head only a little way above the back. But the moa cannot have generated the rock legend, for New Zealand too was well beyond Sinbad's ken. About 10 moa species existed in New Zealand, and they ranged in size from turkey to double-sized ostrich. Moas are extreme among flightless birds in that they have no trace of wings at all, not even buried vestiges of wings only. They thrived in both the North and South Islands of New Zealand until the recent invasion by the Maori people about 1250 AD. They were easy prey, no doubt to sustain the region's resurgence. Except for the extinct hunt eagle, the largest eagle ever to live, they've known no predators for tens of millions of years, and the Maoris slaughtered them all, eating the choicer parts and discarding the rest, denying, not for the first time, the wishful myth of the noble savage living in respectful harmony with his environment. By the time the Europeans arrived, only a few centuries after the Maoris, the last moa was gone. Legends and tall stories of sightings persist to this day, but the hope is forlorn. In the words of a plaintive song, to be sung in a mournful New Zealand accent.
No moa, no moa, in old Ayakira. Can't get 'em, they've et 'em. They've gone, and there ain't no moa. Rendezvous 26, where we've reached most of the invertebrates, the protostomes, it becomes more or less impossible to put a date on this. Certainly more than 500 million years ago, maybe as much as 600 million years ago. The barnacle tale. When I was at boarding school, it was occasionally necessary to apologize to the housemaster for being late for dinner.
Sorry, I'm late, orchestra practice.
Or whatever the excuse might be. On those occasions when there really was no good excuse, and we had something to hide, we formed the habit of saying,
Sorry, I'm late, sir. Barnacle.
He always nodded kindly, and I don't know whether he ever wondered what this mysterious out-of-school activity might be. It is possible that we were inspired by the example of Darwin, who devoted years of his life to barnacles so single-mindedly that his children were moved to ask in innocent puzzlement after being shown round the house of some friends,
Then where's your part in this barnacle?
I'm not sure that we knew the Darwin story then, and I suspect that we invented the excuse because there is something about barnacles that seems too implausible to be a bluff. Barnacles are not what they seem. That applies to other animals too, and it is the theme of the barnacle's tale.
Contrary to all appearances, barnacles are crustaceans. The ordinary acorn barnacle, which encrusts the rocks like miniature limpets, helping your shoes not to slip if you're wearing them and hurting your feet if you aren't, are completely unlike limpets internally. Inside the shell, they are distorted shrimps, lying on their backs, kicking their legs in the air. Their feet bear feathery cones or baskets, with which they filter particles of food up to the water. Goose barnacles do the same thing, but instead of sheltering under a conical shell like an acorn barnacle, they sit on the end of a stout stalk. They get their name from yet another misunderstanding of the true nature of barnacles. Their wet, filtering feathers give them the appearance of a baby bird in its egg. In the days when people believed in spontaneous generation, a folk belief grew that goose barnacles hatched into geese, specifically Brantley foxes of barnacle group.
Most deceptive of all, indeed probably holding the record for animals not looking remotely like the thing that zoologists know them to be, are the parasitic barnacles such as Stachylina. Stachylina is not what it seems with a vengeance. Zoologists will never have realized that it is in fact a barnacle but for its larva. The adult is a soft sac that clings to the underside of a crab and sends long branching plant-like roots inside to absorb nourishment from the crab's tissues. The parasite not only doesn't look like a barnacle, it doesn't look like a crustacean of any kind. It has completely lost all trace of the armor plating, all trace of the bodily segmentation that nearly all other arthropods have. It might as well be a parasitic plant or fungus. Yet, in terms of its evolutionary relationships, it is a crustacean, and not just a crustacean, but specifically a barnacle. Barnacles are indeed not what they seem. By the way, Stachylina's branching root system is not indiscriminate in its invasion of the crab's tissues. It heads first for the crab's reproductive organs, which have the effect of castrating the crab. Is this just an accidental byproduct? Probably not. Castration not only sterilizes the crab, like a fat bullock, the castrated crab, instead of concentrating on becoming a lean, reproducing machine, diverts resources towards getting larger, more food for the parasite. There are surprisingly only 39 rendezvous points on this trek back to the origin of life. Rendezvous 39 itself, the last one before we march together to the origin of life, is where we reach the bacteria. And we're going to read a small extract from the tale of Thermus aquaticus. Although our tales are not in the main told in the first person, let us make an exception for the last word of all our tales and give it to the bacterium Thermus aquaticus.
Look at life from our perspective. And you carriers will soon cease giving yourselves such airs. You bipedal apes, you stump-tailed tree shrews, you desiccated loathsins, you vertebrated worms, you cocked-up sponges, you newcomers on the block, you decapitated, you barely distinguishable congregations of a monotonously narrow parish, you a little more than fancy froth on the surface of bacterial life. By the very cells that build you are themselves colonies of bacteria, replaying the same old tricks we bacteria discovered a billion years ago. We were here before you arrived. We shall be here after you are gone.
We press on back to Canterbury, which is the origin of life, and then beyond Canterbury, the last chapter of the book is called The Host's Return. The genial host, having guided Chaucer and the other pilgrims from London to Canterbury and stood impresario to their tales, turned around and led them straight back to London. If I now return to the present, it must be alone. For to presume upon evolution following the same forward course twice would be to deny the rationale of our backward journey. Evolution was never aimed at any particular endpoint. Our backward pilgrimage has been a series of swelling mergers as we were swallowed up in ever more inclusive groupings. The apes, the primates, the mammals, the vertebrates, the deuterostomes, the animals, and so on back to the arch ancestor of all life. If we turn around and move forward now, we cannot retrace our steps. That would imply that evolution, were it to be rerun, would follow the same course, putting those same mergers into reverse gear in the form of splits. The stream of life would branch in all the right places. Photosynthesis and an oxygen-based metabolism would be rediscovered. The eukaryotic cell would reconstitute itself. Cells would club together in neo-mesozoan bodies. There would be a new split between plants on the one hand and animals plus fungi on the other. A new split between protostomes and deuterostomes. The backbone would be rediscovered, and so would eyes, ears, limbs, nervous system. Eventually, a swollen-brained biped would emerge, with skilled hands guided by forward-looking eyes, culminating in the proverbial cricket team to beat the Australians. If, as returning host, I reflect on the whole pilgrimage of which I have been a grateful part, my overwhelming reaction is one of amazement. Amazement not only at the extravaganza of detail that we have seen, amazement too at the very fact that there are any such details to be had at all on any planet. The universe could so easily have remained lifeless and simple, just physics and chemistry, just the scattered dust of a cosmic explosion that gave birth to time and space. The fact that it did not, the fact that life evolved out of nearly nothing, some 10 billion years after the universe evolved out of literally nothing, is a fact so staggering that I would be mad to attempt words to do it justice. Even that was not the end of the matter. Not only did evolution happen, it eventually led to beings capable of comprehending the process, and even of comprehending the process by which they comprehend it. This pilgrimage has been a trip, not just in the literal sense, but in the countercultural sense I met when a young man in California in the 1960s. The most potent hallucinogen on sale in Haight or Ashbury or Telegraph Avenue would be tame by comparison. If it's amazement you want, the real world has it all. Not to stray outside the covers of this book. Think of Venus's girdle, migrating jellyfish and tiny harpoons. Think of the platypus's radar and the electric fish, of the horsefly larva with the apparent foresight to preempt cracks in the mud. Think redwood, think peacock, think starfish with its tight hydraulic power. Think cichlid fish of then Victoria evolving how many orders of magnitude faster than limula, singular, or latimeria. This is not pride in my book, but reverence for life itself that encourages me to say, you want a justification for the latter, open the former anywhere at random. And reflect on the fact that although this book has been written from a human point of view, another book could have been written in parallel for any of 10 million starting pilgrims. Not only is life on this planet amazing and deeply satisfying to all whose senses have not become dulled by familiarity, the very fact that we have evolved the brain power to understand our evolutionary genesis redoubles the amazement and compounds the satisfaction. Thank you very much.